everyone, and welcome to MeowMix, a Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry.
And with us today is our favorite guest, Jason Hewitt from Sports Illustrated. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, thank you. I lost the bloody bet, so I had to speak in my very terrible British accent for the next 5 minutes. So,
Oh my God, that is so much better than Jerry's British accent.
Hey, yes, it is. It is way better. Mine was awful.
I would really like to hear that.
No, you wouldn't. So on today's show, we will be discussing Trey Lance. That we put a Twitter poll out to see who the first player among the quarterbacks, or three quarterbacks at least, that you guys wanted to hear us talk about in our first of our draft player profile previews. I don't know if that's what we'll call it, but that's what it is basically. So Trey Lance will be the first one, but we'll be talking about somebody every week, probably up until the draft. Maybe we'll get through them before the draft, but that's the plan.
Yeah,
so
and not all will be quarterbacks. We'll look at the corners, the linebackers, anybody that has a potential of being drafted at number 8 for us.
Yeah, we'll try to break the quarterbacks up. We're not going to do quarterbacks every week, even though, Jason recently wrote an article saying that Teddy's time could be up, so could be a QB in the future.
Yes, hopefully we will see somebody else slinging it around, but until then, we will see multiple interceptions
and multiple 5-yard passes.
Yeah.
So first, though, before we get to that, we're going to end our contest. So we had asked you guys to send in a story of your most awkward interaction with a Carolina Panthers player or staff member. And we got a winner, Bob from Philadelphia. And he has a very cringeworthy story. And I will read it now. A few years ago, there was an autograph signing happening in Virginia. Greg Olsen, Kelvin Benjamin, and Luke Kuechly, all former Panthers at this point, were attending. Now, I feel like I should say this before I get into the details. I live in Philadelphia, and it was a 3-hour drive there, and the first signing was happening at 10 a.m., so I had to be on the road before 7 a.m. to make it. So the day's going great. He meets Kelvin Benjamin. Greg Olsen gets a photo with all of them, signed photo, and now he has to wait about an hour until Luke is coming out. At this point, it's mid-afternoon, and I'm tired and not looking forward to a 3-hour ride home. So I decided to take a cat nap in the car until it's time for Luke. I wake up, the nap didn't help, and now I'm grumpier than I was before the nap. I finally get up to see Luke, and he's super nice. As always, I've met him twice before. Brag much, guy? Jeez. And he shakes his hand. Then he looks at the picture for a few minutes, and me being grumpy asks, "What, you can't figure out which one is you?" Whew. As soon as I said that, I felt like an ass and immediately regretted it. Luke apologized and said, "No, I'm sorry." He signed the photo, and I skulked away. There you have it. And then he attached a photo of him and his nephew meeting Luke.
Oh,
that's a real jerk thing to do.
Especially to one of the nicest guys.
Like why would you do that to Luke Kuechly?
Kelvin Benjamin, sure. Like we were, maybe Kelvin wouldn't know which one he was on there. I don't know, but probably the fat one, maybe. But Luke.
I think that's what puts it over the edge is the fact that it is Luke. We're starting off our player profile with Trey Lance due to the Twitter poll. And Trey Lance, he was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school with only 1 year as a starter. And that was his senior year. He only received interest from one Division 1A team, Northern Illinois, and then North Dakota State came calling and offered him a scholarship. North Dakota State is a powerhouse in the football subdivision, so he quickly signed. At North Dakota State, he redshirted his freshman year. but took over the starting role his sophomore season and started all 16 games they played through 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions while rushing for 1,100 yards. Oh, yeah. And he won the NCAA Division I championship, too. Now, unfortunately, this year, with COVID, North Dakota State only played one game. Their season just was wiped out, but they played one game, and he threw his only interception that he'll have in college.
They played that one game for him too.
Yeah.
Just basically as a showcase for him.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. And unfortunately, it was probably one of his worst games.
Yeah. Although he did run for like 150 yards or something crazy.
Jeez.
Yeah, he actually played running back in high school as well. I don't know who was above him starting quarterback for, his junior and sophomore seasons, but good for them. I guess he was running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you want to look at some pros and cons of Trey Lance here?
Sure.
Let's start with the pros. So he's obviously a dual threat quarterback, right? Which is, we've seen a lot of success in the NFL, especially recently from dual threat quarterbacks.
I think almost every quarterback has to have some mobility nowadays. You can't be a Peyton Manning that's a statue back there. But even then, he was good at shifty in the pocket.
Yeah, Trey Lance will be more of a running quarterback instead of a mobile quarterback. He's more of a Kyler Murray. I don't want to say Lamar Jackson because I think Lamar Jackson is just on his own tier. But
I agree.
I think Kyler Murray may be a better comparison. But he's very accurate.
I would say he's a smaller Cam Newton. He's a big dude who was bowling people over. He's 6'4", 226.
I got the perfect man in mind.
Oh.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, I'd take that. Shoot.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's awesome. So Trey Lance, he's accurate. He's got good ball placement. He's aggressive. He's got the deep ball. He's got a big arm. Good decision making, as is evidenced by the 28 touchdowns, no interceptions stat line from 2019. And he's got a quick release. So all of those are good things, right? And in today's NFL, especially, would seem to lead you to think that no brainer. I mean, the guy has all the tools, right?
I mean, now let's move on to the cons.
Yeah.
So that's the good thing, the good stuff. Cons. He's raw. He is extremely raw. I mean, you only have 1 year of college and 1 year as a starting quarterback in high school.
Yeah.
He needs a little more work on his mechanics as a result, right? I mean, if you're only playing quarterback for a few years, then you need work. You need time. Lack of big time competition in North Dakota State. They're so much better than everyone else they play. They are kind of like the Appalachian State used to be around here, where they get all the big recruits that can't get into the big schools that come to North Dakota State. And he needs to work on his progressions as a result of being on a team that has so much more talent than who they play. Oftentimes his first read was wide open. Yeah. And he only had to look at the first read to get rid of the ball. One of the things I saw was he had sorry, I'm getting a lot of echo.
I am too.
Sorry. If his first read was not open, then he would pull the ball down and run. Yep. He didn't really progress through his reads, his plays. Another pro, by the way, sorry to go back to the pros. North Dakota State runs a pro offense. They huddle. They run a lot from under center. They don't call in plays using those big cards that you see a lot of college teams do. They run normal NFL style plays. So that's another pro. But all right, I'm going to stop talking now and let you guys chime in.
Well, I mean, shoot, you pretty much hit everything that I was thinking of. I mean, He looks fantastic on the film. He really does. And you see him running, running folks over, juking folks, looking really agile and having that up and down speed as well. It's North Dakota State. Like, listen, put Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, or Trevor Lawrence in his shoes, and imagine the stat lines that they would put up. That's what I keep thinking of when I think of Trey Lance. Like, yeah, he's awesome on paper, but I mean, the man has only played in really 17 games in college, and with all of that, it's just not enough tape for me. But at the same time, like, I understand, if you want to take him and maybe like set him behind number 5 for a year and have him grow, that's fine. But I mean, it's just a little too raw for a first round pick. That's just me though.
Now, you did mention Josh Allen. He came out of Wyoming State, and that was the exact thing that everybody said about him too. He's raw, he needs some time and stuff. And I think we do luckily have Teddy Bridgewater under contract for 2 years that he doesn't have to start next year, thankfully.
Yeah.
So, but my big thing though is if Matt Rule trusts him, goes out, has his pro day, likes him, and thinks he can mold him into a great quarterback, great. But if he doesn't, no, stay away. He is so raw. He is so scarily raw. I don't know if the only person I know that also had only like one season starting in high school and in college, and I think he may have had 2, was Ben Roethlisberger. Because he was in high school and he only started 1 season in high school because the coach's son was the quarterback ahead of him. So, he wasn't going to get bitched for that guy. And then he had only 1 scholarship offer from Miami of Ohio, but he brought Miami of Ohio to like a number 12 ranking in college football that year. So,
yeah, I do like, if a team is going to take Trey Lance, I don't know that you take him to start right away, right? Because of all the reasons that we've said. So the fact that we do have a starting caliber quarterback, not the best starting caliber quarterback in the league, but Teddy Bridgewater is good enough. And Teddy Bridgewater is a very, he's not a guy that's going to get offended by you drafting another quarterback. I think he's a guy that's going to do everything he can to work with Trey Lance and, help him learn, the playbook and learn how to go through your progressions, things like that. Probably a very good teacher. I think the Panthers would be a good landing place for him. I don't know necessarily that he's the best option for the Panthers, but the Panthers might be one of the best options for him.
Yeah. He gets to come to a young team with a good head coach that has molded players before, not forced to start right. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
And you got to trust Matt Rule too. Just like Jason was saying earlier, just a great talent evaluator. And if Matt Rule likes what he sees from Trey Lance, then I think I'd be happy to see what that combination could do in the future.
Definitely.
Now, with that being said, do you think Trey Lance will fall to number 8?
For those listening, I'm doing my thinking face.
Yeah, for the listeners.
So the question is, will he be available at 8? Not if he will be selected at 8.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Will he fall to 8?
He'll be available at 8.
Yeah.
I think he'll be available at 8.
I do too.
Yeah, I agree. I put a confidence grade on it. I said about 80% confident that he would fall to 8. He'll probably be the 4th or 5th quarterback taken.
Mhm.
Now, that doesn't mean that there's going to be 4 quarterbacks taken before number 8, but he could be, I think he could go anywhere between 8 and 20, right? I think that's his range. I've seen, Mac Jones, based on the national championship game, seems to be vaulting up the draft board a little bit. Zach Wilson, of course, is up there, and then you've got Fields and Lawrence. So Fields are Lawrence, obviously number 1, and I think Wilson, Fields, and Lance are sort of in the same general area, but Fields and Wilson are a little higher. Then you got Lance and Mac Jones probably.
See, I think Fields is
next tier.
above Wilson.
I think so too.
Yeah, I've seen mocks with both going number 2 or second overall. So, but I would agree. I would take Fields over Wilson, but I don't know. Teams fall in love with somebody.
Does Trey Lance fit the current roster? I believe we actually answered that question already, saying he does.
Mm-hmm.
And would you be excited to draft this player? If the Panthers drafted him at 8, would you be excited, or would you be like,
it would be a mix of both for me. I would initially I'd be like, there might have been like a lineman or a defensive player that might have been available, especially in the first round with all this talent that's available. You're like, dang it. If we just had a quarterback that could do just enough, they would be able to draft them. But instead, you're basically using an experiment for your first pick, which, it's a risk, but a lot of teams in the NFL reach Super Bowls because of risk. So
yeah, it is the most important position in the game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think would I be excited if the Panthers drafted him? I mean, I feel the same way. I think I would. I want a new quarterback for the Panthers, and I want a quarterback that has potential. But just like Jason said, it depends on who else is available as to whether or not I'm going to be really excited. Right?
No, you're absolutely correct, because there could be that other player out there that you're like, oh yeah, he's going to be a superstar. And then you get Trey Lance and you're like, he's a boomer bust guy.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's always that fear that he'll bust.
We're Hornets fans here. I know, not Jason, he's a Hawks fan, but we're Hornets fans here. And the Hornets have drafted a lot of potential guys over the last many years that don't work out. They never work out, and they're always fringe top 10 guys that they draft and they don't work out. And I hate seeing that. It sucks when your franchise does that and it doesn't work. So I don't want him to be Noah Vonleh or Bismack Biyombo or some of these guys that just don't work out.
I understand.
Well, anything else Trey Lance related that we wanted to talk about here?
Let me think. I can't really think of anything.
Is he an upgrade? I mean, he's obviously an upgrade at backup, right? I mean, if we did have Teddy for another year or two, he's better than PJ Walker and Will Grier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But I don't think you draft him with the 8th overall pick and hope he's a better backup.
Yeah.
I think you hope, is his ceiling higher ceiling than Teddy Bridgewater? Is his ceiling a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
Right.
I mean, that's what you're hoping for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: in that first year or two that he's sitting, you could still use him, right? He could still come in as that. I mean, I hate saying the Taysom Hill type player, but a guy that comes in and runs, your quarterback either as a run or can pass or can do a lot of different things. That seems to be, there seem to be a lot more teams doing things like that. I mean, we saw the Panthers do it the last game of the season with Tommy Stevens. He's a better version of Tommy Stevens. for that.
I mean, look at
I
Jalen
would
Hurts.
hope so.
The Eagles were doing with
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I mean, and he could run and pass
Yeah.
accurately.
So it'll be a way to get him out on the field, even though he may not start in his rookie season.
Yeah, and if you go back, the Ravens also did that with Lamar. So
That's right.
Mhm.
Yep.
it works out sometimes. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
if
you
they
run a
even draft
packet, 10, 12 plays package for him, and then you
Mhm.
put him in when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. I think that does it for Trey Lance's draft profile. Jason, would you like to tell the people where to find your stuff?
Yes, you can find my stuff at si.com/NFL/Panthers. You could also follow me on Twitter at Jason Hewitt50 and follow SI Panthers Twitter page at SI_Panthers. Be sure to follow us. Yes, sir.
Are you working on anything right now that we should look out for?
I might get a Trey Lance profile out here very soon.
Yeah, good timing then. Good timing.
I'll go ahead and drop that after the pod drops. So
There you go. Yeah. Check Jason out. And you just go to si.com/Panthers and search Jason's name, and there's a plethora of articles and content out there, and it's all great. So
thank you.
hey, real quick before we end this, Jerry, just want to ask each of you, Jason, do the Panthers draft Trey Lance? Yes or no?
No.
Jerry, do the Panthers draft Trey Lance? Yes or no?
No.
I'm going to say yes. All right, go ahead.
All right.
That's my prediction.
We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like our show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read your comment on the show. We are going to continue on with our draft profile next week. Don't know who that is at this moment.
Yeah, I think I don't know if we'll do another poll or if we'll just choose this one. We'll figure it out. But until then, everybody stay safe and keep pounding.